Look at all that grungy goodness. Whew. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Catherine. I am a beauty and reselling enthusiast, so if those are things that you like to watch, then please consider subscribing before you go. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and I need your help to do it. But today's video is going to be our unveiling and swatching and comparing the new Cosmic Brushes Undergrowth palette. I just got this in and I cannot wait to dive into it. So if that is something that you want to watch, then please stick around. So Cosmic Brushes has done it again. They have come out with another beautiful eyeshadow palette. This is their 20 color palette, which is pretty typical for what they do. I know they have a few palettes, maybe just one. That Gothic palette, the purple palette, is 12 shades. I don't know. I don't have that one, but I do have all of their, no, I don't. I have most of their 20 pan palettes. I think the only one I didn't get was that Winter Wonderland, and I can't quite remember if that's a 20 pan palette or not. You let me know down below. But I saw this released on one of the makeup Instagrams, Trend Mood. Of course, that's the only one I can think of at this moment. I don't think it was Trend Mood, but regardless, I saw this pop up and I just knew I had to have it. So this is their Undergrowth palette. They say it's the most grungy, murky, and dirtiest of undertones inspired by nature's undergrowth. 12 soft mattes and 8 dazzling shimmers with a range of finishes and textures. This palette contains 3 shifty shades. 2 of those are multichromes and 1 a duochrome. So I just can't wait to dive in. I do love me a good green palette. It's probably the one color that I'm like attracted to the most, I feel like. Yeah, I can safely say I think that's what I'm attracted to the most. But let's do a quick reveal of this, kind of giving you a recap of this video. So we're going to do the reveal, we're going to do some swatches. I'm going to take you outside and kind of show you what it looks like, the palette and the swatches in the sunlight, so you can kind of see some of the more shiftiness. And then we're actually going to compare to a whole bunch of other palettes in my collection to see, is this similar to something else you may already own, or is it different enough that you have to have it. This does retail for $39. It does ship from the UK, so you do have to expect some time for it to arrive to you, but I think it's gonna be well worth the wait, and there are plenty of codes out there to use to get some percentage off. I personally do not have a code. Wink wink, I would love one, Cosmic Brushes, if you're watching, but I will link the code that I use down below so you can get some money off. All right, so without further ado, let's unveil this. Oh, so pretty. So as you can see, we have just a whole range of greens, some browns. We're going a little bit into like the warm oranges and stuff like that. Oh, some golds. So I cannot wait. Can we see some shiftiness? Maybe not quite yet. I never take them, well, the mirror thing is not as opaque as they usually are, but I usually don't take my little mirror thing off, so I don't know if we can see the true shiftiness of everything, but that's why I like to go outside, to show you what everything looks like. So let's dive into the actual swatches of things. Okay, so I'm going to go in the order that they have them written out, which is across. So the first color is Vegetation. They consider it a cool toned, sparkly, metallic green. And of course, it's a beautiful, buttery, shimmery shade, not super chunky, but not hard pressed. Just feels really good. So I am swatching, obviously, on my skin. I am fair with cool, neutral leaning undertones, so you can kind of get an understanding of what it looks like on that type of skin tone. And as expected, swatches really beautifully. So that is just, that's actually a very kind of light swatch. I didn't do it too heavy. Let's build it up just a little bit, because this seems more like it could be more of like a topper type shade. Maybe inner corner highlight for you. Gorgeous. All right, so then we're gonna move into Herbarium. A cool toned pastel pea green matte. So it's this one right here. I do love Cosmic Brushes formulas. They have just really great formulas. I love their color stories. They've all been super great. Now I haven't picked up every single one of them. Like I said, I don't have the Gothic palette and I don't have the Winter Wonderland, but I feel like I have everything else. So this is that Herbarium. That's a first pass through. Again, this would be really perfect for like an inner corner highlight, a transition shade. Really beautiful. All right, so then we're going to go into Algae, which is a light lime green matte. And that is what it looks like. Ooh, okay. Okay. I must have had like a little bit of water or lotion there because it swatched a little bit darker in that specific area compared to the other areas. But this is pretty. Okay. Moving right along, we have Fern, which they describe as an olive green matte, which that's what it looks like in the pan. Not too many, I don't feel like I see too many color stories with like an olive tone, you know? So it's nice to see something a little bit different. I don't know what I have going on over here. I must have like lotion because it's just swatching a little bit darker right in that particular area. So that is Fern. And I think we're getting into our first, no, I was going to say Wilderness. I thought this was going to be a duochrome. You can't even see it, Wilderness. But they describe it as a green gold sparkly metallic. Oh, well, I guess that it would be like a duochrome, right? Green gold sparkly metallic. Ooh, okay. Very pretty. Yes. All right, then we are going to go into Nettle. They describe it as a dark grungy green matte. All right, we're going with Ring Finger with a dark color. Usually this doesn't go over so well, but we'll see. Oh, okay, not bad, not bad. So why I say that is because obviously the Ring Finger just doesn't have as much power and a darker color. Typically just doesn't swatch as well as what I've noticed, really with any brand. So we were taking a gamble on that one, but that is so pretty. Now we're gonna go for the namesake of the palette. This is Undergrowth. It looks, from the angle above, it looks more gold, but when I'm looking at it, at my angle, it looks more green. So they describe it as a high shine multi-chrome that shifts from deep green to brown to gold. So let's see. Oh my gosh, I love shades like this. So pretty. So this one does seem a little bit chunkier than the others, but I think this just has more going on with it compared to, you know, the other shades, which are a little bit more toppery. This one is definitely more of a showstopper. Can we see that? Oh, that is my favorite color so far. So far, that is the favorite. Okay, so then we're gonna go into Murky, which is a dark khaki brown green matte. All of the mattes are feeling quite similar, which is nice. They kind of have a like a soft texture to them, so that you're not gonna like punch into them like you would one of the metallics, but they do have like a softness to it. Oh gosh, stop it, stop it. That is so pretty. Okay, these are like, the swatches are more exciting than just seeing it in person. I'm gonna be real with you. Like, they look so much better in person. Like, the pans look beautiful, but swatching it is getting me even more excited. All right, so that was Murky. So then we're gonna go into Swamp, which is a muted foil brown metallic. So that is this one right here. This one feels a little bit more chunky, kind of very similar to Undergrowth compared to Vegetation and Wilderness. So it makes me think it's probably more of, yeah, more of a not topper shade, just like all over shade. And you can kind of see the chunkiness in there. Like this one, you can actually, I feel like, see the sparkles in it compared to this one just kind of melds together. Then we're gonna finish up this row. This is Bark. They describe it as a green black matte, which I kind of really love the concept of that compared to just, you know, because they could have just thrown a black in here. And I'm sure that would have been great too, but I really like how they kind of stuck with the theming of it all. All right, let's see. Ooh. So I don't know if you can tell on camera, but in person, I can see a little bit of the greenness in it compared to just a straight up black. It's almost like a green gray black. Really pretty, and I think that will add a lot of like nice contrast to these colors compared to a straight up black. Then we're gonna go into the next row. This is Boggy, a foiled duochrome that shifts from khaki green to brown. Khaki green to brown again. This one's a little bit on the chunkier side, so I feel like it's gonna have more of an impact. Wow, okay. Really, really, really pretty. So what was that one again? A duochrome that shifts from khaki green to brown. And don't worry, we will go outside and we will see the true shiftiness of everything. I'm gonna get into our first kind of brown orangey shade in Roots. They say it's a soft camel brown matte with an olive undertone. I'm gonna have to really dig into that one. That ring finger is quite weak when it comes to swatches. Oh, but still really beautiful. And I always say a swatch on the arm is not necessarily how it's going to perform in the eye, because you're doing different motions of swatching compared to, you know, brushes that you're going to use, or even just the pressure that you use on the eye. So this is merely just to see what the colors look like. Going into Marsh, which is a murky mustard green matte. Murky mustard green matte. Yes, please. Oh, we got a little bit of chunkies swatching it, and that's okay. Oh my gosh. This is so pretty. Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. I don't know what else to say. Now we're gonna do jump into Lichen. L-I-C-H-E-N. I don't know how to pronounce that. Lichen. A bright, almost neon chartreuse matte. I love colors like this. Okay, this is the first one that's like a little bit weak, but that's, I feel like that's to be expected with a pastel because it has so much white in it, and because I'm so fair. It takes a little bit of building up to get there, but we got it there. So pretty. Okay, and then we're gonna go into Fireflies. This is a vibrant, smooth multi-chrome that shifts from yellow gold to a blue green to a glowing red orange. Okay, what does it look like on camera? Kind of just looks a little bit orangey on camera. Let's see what it looks like when we actually swatch it. Okay, I can kind of see the shiftiness to the glowing orange, but I don't know if I see that teal blue. Let's build that up just a hair. Okay. Okay, so this kind of reminds me the texture and how it's swatching, very similar to Wilderness and Vegetation, where I feel like it's just more of a topper shade compared to an all over really like opaque shade. Now we're going to dive into Clay, which is a mid-tone orange matte. Mid-tone orange matte. Oh wow, okay. I really love, like, now that I'm seeing the colors all swatched out, I really love how they laid out this palette. It just, I mean, you can just tell like these shades go together. The only one that kind of seems a little bit out of place is this Wilderness one up here compared to all the greens, because now we're kind of getting into like the browns and the oranges and stuff like that, but they did a really great job laying this out. All right, now we're going to move on to Fungi, a neutral muted gold metallic. This one feels a little bit thicker. Really pretty. Okay, those two seem pretty similar, like with my lights on it right now, but we'll see what it looks like out in the sun, because this one is supposed to be a multi-chrome and this is just a shimmer. All right, then we're going into Reed's, a pastel pompous yellow matte. A pompous yellow matte, that's a pretty good description. Okay, again, just with it being more of a pastel shade, we're just gonna have to build her up. Really nice. Last two, we have Cordyceps, which is a muted bronze metallic. Ooh, very bronzy. And then Sludge, a terracotta red brown matte. I really like that name. I really like all these names. I think they're all really great. Sludge. Fortunately, that was kind of mixing in just a little bit with the one. I just didn't want to get it in the crook of my elbow. Really, really beautiful. Swatches are to die for, really, really are. They just bring this even more to life. So let's do a quick recap before we go check it out in the sun, and then we start comparing it to some other palettes that I feel like have similar vibes. So first we have Vegetation, Herbarian, Algae, Fern, Wilderness, Nettle, Undergrowth, Murky, Swamp, Bark, Boggy, Roots, Marsh, Lichen, Fireflies, Clay, Fungi, Reeds, Cordyceps, and Sludge. Here we are outside, kind of seeing a backlit version of the palette. You see some shiftiness of the shades. All right, now let's look at the swatches. All right, here are all of the swatches in their glory. So pretty. Some of them aren't as shifty as I thought they would be out in the sunlight, but still really pretty. Except that Undergrowth one right there. Gorgeous. So now comes the comparison time, and I really like to do this because although I really love Cosmic brushes, I think they have great formulas. So if you are looking to purchase this one, I think it's a great price for a great formula and color story, but we don't always have $38 plus shipping to shell out on a new palette. So let's compare it to some palettes that we may already have in our collection. So all of these palettes I kind of felt like had very similar vibes as this one. None of them were exact, but they at least had the similar vibes. So let's kind of go through them. The first one being, of course, the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. So let me scoot us in just a little bit closer. There we go. So this one I kind of figured had somewhat a similar vibe because again, this one has more of kind of leaning a little more on the orangey, warm tone side compared to the green side. But as we can see, we have like Plantasia looks very similar to probably like Wilderness or Fireflies. What is this one? Ixia, very close to Clay. Camu Camu is like Lichen. So this one at least has the Undergrowth palette at least has more variety, and it goes from a little bit lighter and darker like it just has more options. Let's just say that has more options in all of the ranges of lighter, mid-tone, and deeper, I feel like, compared to the Yucca palette, which is a little bit more on the mid-tone side of things. And then can we talk about the price points? This is $69, this is $38, and you get more shades and you get a better range. And just come a little bit closer. I think I like Cosmic Brush's formula just as much as Natasha Denona. If you already have this, do you think you need this? Maybe. All right, so that is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. Now, the next palette I picked out, I know there's going to be a large difference to it, but I liked how it kind of had the same vibes as this one. So this is the Lunar Beauty Moonshroom palette. This one is new to me. Ooh, let's actually get it the right way so you can see the pretty artwork of it all. So they do have really, really pretty artwork. There we go. So actually this is much more similar than what I expected. I knew this one didn't have the greens in it, but I didn't quite remember that it had all of these kind of like mustard orangey shades. So those all seem pretty similar. So like Puffball and Reeds seem very similar. I'm thinking it's like, is that the only similarity? Roots and Toad, Marsh and Meadow. You know, you could probably make a claim for Roots and Chocolate Truffle. And also the greens down here. So Weeping Willow seems kind of similar to Nettle or Fern, but this one adds more pops of purple in it. So again, and some of these are even like the same name. So Fungi, even though it's spelled differently than this Fungi. I thought there was one that had cordyceps. I must be wrong. Okay. But again, still very kind of similar vibes. If you were digging on this one and you already have this one, could you make something work that was similar to this? Maybe. Also, I really like the Lunar Beauty formula. This is the first palette that I've actually kept because all the other palettes I've gotten, actually, no, that is my only eyeshadow palette that I've gotten that I purchased myself. I've received other things in PR like blushes and stuff like that that I just didn't vibe with, but they have a really good eyeshadow formula. Okay. So the next color story that I kind of felt had similar vibes to it was the Hella. This is the Odin's Eye and Angelica Nyquist collab palette. I think this was their first collab palette together. So again, I knew that it wasn't going to be an exact match, but it had similarities. So we kind of see where it goes from the lighter side over here, kind of the murky, grungy greens, but then this one adds in more of the pops of pinks and like kind of Kelly green and stuff like that, as well as some like purples down here. So again, if you have this, do you need this? You have to decide that for yourself, or can you get a similar look to what this may provide? And I should say the Hella palette is discontinued. Some of these are going to be discontinued, but I'll link everything down below. But some of these are discontinued. So the ones that I can link will be linked. They'll be affiliated. I earn a commission if you choose to shop through them. All right, so the next one was the Wilderness palette. So this is from Beauty Bay. This was one of their holiday palettes, I think. So again, very similar-esque. This one kind of goes a little bit deeper into the, goes into the blues and then into the reds, but we can see this row right here, and a little bit of this is what I'm kind of vibing with this. Again, Beauty Bay has a really great formula too. This is the only palette I think I have from them, but I really liked the quality, and this is also relatively inexpensive. I know this one in particular is discontinued, but they do have a lot of other palettes. I haven't tried the other palettes yet, so I can't say if the quality is the same, but the quality of this one is really nice. So again, we can kind of see a similar story going on. They're in the same realm as each other. All right, another discontinued one. Sorry, I keep pulling out all these discontinued ones. But this is the BH Cosmetic Sweet Shop Pistachio. Fun story, I've actually never even used this yet, and it has passed many of my declutters. If you are ever curious to see products that I do declutter, I will link my compilation playlist up in the corner for you. It literally is 6 hours of me just decluttering everything in my beauty space. And this one just continues to make it because it is so pretty. So this one, where I can see the difference, so obviously it's green, but again, this is more of that murky, dingy, dirty green, and this kind of seems more of that clean, cool tone type of green. Mine is nutty. That's really the only kind of warm tone green we have in this, so this could be a really wonderful companion to that if you have this one. But this one has been discontinued for quite some time. But all these discontinued palettes, if you feel comfortable enough, they're all going to be on reselling websites, Poshmark, Mercari, eBay may not, because they're pretty strict about no used makeup, I believe. Facebook Marketplace, all of those places. So if you are new to those platforms, check out my link down below. I link all of my reselling websites. So I don't personally resell used makeup on those platforms, but I'm sure that they're there. And if you're comfortable with that and you're new to the platform, I'm sure I have a referral code down below where you can save some money off of it too. This is actually, I have a lot of comparison palettes, so that goes to show you that green is one of my color stories that I really do enjoy and I'm attracted to. So the next one is the Melt Cosmetics Gemini palette. So this is the Gemini 1. They do have a Gemini 2 that is a little bit more on the rosier tone, if I remember correctly. But see, we can see very similar tones, even up to the browns and the orangey browns and stuff like that. Wow, this one actually really is pretty dang similar, if I do have to say so myself. So just kind of give it a full view of this one. But the melt quality, I will tell you, is very finicky. Some of them are great, and I noticed when the mattes are really great, the shimmers aren't very great, and vice versa. There's only one palette that I can think of that both are really great, and that's the Halloween Town one, which was their holiday palette for last year. But all of the other ones, it's kind of either or. And then another melt palette that I thought kind of had similar vibes is the Smoke Sessions palette. So again, kind of more on the emerald, cooler tone green side compared to this, but the browns, kind of gold shimmers made me think of it. Then we have some ColourPop palettes coming up. So the first one that I thought of was the Star Wars The Child palette. This is actually in my current September Shop My Stash, which is coming to an end. I need to film my October one. But if you're curious to know all the makeup products that I am using in September, this is included, and I will link it for you. But I felt like this was a nice kind of condensed, maybe not. I don't know, maybe not. So obviously we do kind of have like the greens and stuff like that and the golds. I don't know. This just seemed like it could have been, but now that I actually put them together, I think they're a little bit too different. Like, I don't think you could get a look from this that looks similar to this. So this one might have been a bust, but I wanted to compare it just to see, just in case. All right, and then the last comparison palette is another ColourPop palette, and I believe this is still in stock. This is the Just My Luck palette, so one of their old monochromatic ones, and kind of comparing it. Again, there are some similar shades, but not all of them, but kind of gives a similar vibe compared to this one. So you let me know, was there any palettes that you felt could be compared to this one that could give you similar looks, or, you know, kind of that dirty, grungy, murky type of color story? I'd love to hear that down below. But now just kind of looking at everything as a whole, let's bring the swatches back out. I literally have stuff all over my shirt because when I'm bending my arm, it is getting everything all messy. But just kind of giving my final thoughts. I love this. I think it's beautiful. I think it's perfect for this time of year. I don't know if this is their holiday palette. We'll see. The color stores are great. The formula is great. I feel so inspired. Like, although it's a green orangey type of palette, I feel like there's a lot of different looks that you could do with it, and I'm very excited to do those looks. If I had to say my favorite colors, so I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna do my favorite shimmer and then my favorite matte. So I think my favorite shimmer, hands down, is going to be that Undergrowth. So that multi-chrome, what do they call it? A high shine multi-chrome that shifts from deep green to brown to gold. That one is definitely my favorite shimmer. And then when it comes down to my favorite matte, ooh, it's a tie. It's a tie between Murky, it's the kind of that olivey green. What do they describe it as? A dark khaki brown green matte. I was totally off. That one, and then this marshy, like chartreusey type of color. No, they describe it as a murky mustard green matte. This is why I don't describe colors on my own. I read off the website because clearly my adjectives just aren't good enough. So anyways, this is the palette all swatched out. Gave you my thoughts. I compared some for you. I have everything linked down below if you're interested in purchasing anything. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate you taking your time and watching this video. It does mean a lot to me, and hopefully you liked it enough to subscribe and watch some of the other videos that I have filmed and the videos that I'm gonna be filming. So I'd love for you to stick around and just check those out. But other than that, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.